Q4078. For IF or planning purposes, what are the compulsory reporting points when using VOR/DME or VOR/TAC fixes to define a direct route not on established airways? A. Fixes selected to define the route. B. There are no compulsory reporting points unless advised by ATC. C. At the changeover points. The correct answer is A. According to the FAA's Aeronautical Information Manual, AIM, Section 91.183 reporting points. A. Except as provided in paragraph B of this section, each person operating an aircraft under IF or in controlled airspace must report to ATC the following. 1. The name of the reporting point or fix as soon as the aircraft is established on the route or upon arrival at the fix. 2. The time and altitude at the reporting point or fix. 3. The name of the next reporting point or fix and the estimated time of arrival at that point. B. The reporting points specified in paragraph A of this section are those fixes designated in Part 61 of this chapter, designated in an Air Traffic Control Facilities Area Plan, or otherwise published in a Notice to Airmen, NOTAM. In other words, when you are flying IFR and you are using VOR/DME or VOR/TAC fixes to define a direct route not on established airways, you must report to ATC at the fixes that you have selected to define the route. You must report the name of the fix, the time of arrival, and the altitude. It is important to note that these are just general guidelines. The specific reporting requirements may vary depending on the circumstances. It is always best to consult with ATC and follow their instructions. 4460. What action should you take if your number 1 VOR receiver malfunctions while operating in controlled airspace under IFR? Your aircraft is equipped with 2 VOR receivers. The number 1 receiver has VOR/localizer glide slope capability, and the number 2 has only VOR/localizer capability. A. Report the malfunction immediately to ATC. B. Continue the flight as cleared. No report is required. C. Continue the approach and request a VOR or NDB approach. The correct answer is A. According to the FAA's Aeronautical Information Manual, AIM, Section 91.187 operation under IF are in controlled airspace. Malfunction reports. A. The pilot in command of each aircraft operated under IF or in controlled airspace shall report as soon as practical to ATC any malfunctions of navigational, approach, or communication equipment occurring in flight. In other words, when you are flying IFR and you experience a malfunction of your navigational, approach, or communication equipment, you must report the malfunction to ATC as soon as practical. This is to ensure that ATC is aware of the situation and can provide you with the necessary assistance. In this case, the number 1 VOR receiver has malfunctioned. This is a navigational aid that is used to determine the aircraft's position. As such, it is important to report the malfunction to ATC as soon as possible. It is important to note that this is just a general guideline. The specific reporting requirements may vary depending on the circumstances. It is always best to consult with ATC and follow their instructions. 4381. During an IF or flight in IMC, a distress condition is encountered, fire, mechanical, or structural failure. The pilot should A. Not hesitate to declare an emergency and obtain an amended clearance. B. Wait until the situation is immediately perilous before declaring an emergency. C. Contact ATC and advise that an urgency condition exists and request priority consideration. The correct answer is A. When a pilot encounters a distress condition, such as a fire, mechanical, or structural failure, it is important to declare an emergency immediately. This will allow ATC to provide the pilot with the necessary assistance and priority handling. In the case of an IF or flight in IMC, declaring an emergency will also allow ATC to provide the pilot with an amended clearance to a suitable airport. This is important because it can help to ensure the safety of the flight and the passengers. It is important to note that declaring an emergency does not necessarily mean that the aircraft is in immediate danger. However, it does indicate that the pilot believes that there is a potential for danger and that they need assistance. If you are flying an aircraft and you encounter a distress condition, it is important to declare an emergency immediately. This will help to ensure the safety of the flight and the passengers. 4605. During the en route phase of an IAF or flight, the pilot is advised radar service terminated. What action is appropriate? A. Set transponder to code 1200. B. Resume normal position reporting. C. Activate the ident feature of the transponder to re-establish radar contact. The correct answer is B. When ATC signals radar contact lost or radar service terminated, pilots shout to resume reporting from usual positions. 4605-1. A pilot or crew may not perform any activities except those required to safely operate the aircraft during A. The pre-flight walk-around of the aircraft. B. Fueling of the aircraft. C. Critical phases of flight. The correct answer is C. The FAA defines critical phases of flight as takeoff, initial climb, final approach, and landing. During these phases of flight, the pilot and crew must be focused on safely operating the aircraft. They should not be performing any activities that are not essential to the safe operation of the aircraft. Here are some examples of activities that should not be performed during critical phases of flight. Reading non-essential material, using electronic devices, talking to passengers, eating or drinking. It is important to note that the FAA's definition of critical phases of flight is not exhaustive. There may be other phases of flight that are considered critical, depending on the aircraft and the operating environment. If you are a pilot or crew member, it is important to be familiar with the FAA's definition of critical phases of flight. You should also be aware of the specific activities that are not allowed during these phases of flight. By following these guidelines, you can help to ensure the safety of your flight.